Okay, so today we have Karishma with us. She is working in a PE firm in Mumbai right now. And I think she'll help us understand a little bit more about herself and how she has reached today to a level where she is today, and what kind of career path did she follow, and what were the decisions that went behind that. So, welcome, Karishma. Thank you
Hi
so much for
Sonali.
being here.
Hi Sonali. Hi
Uh,
everyone else.
so I'll jump directly to the questions that we have.
Hmm.
The first one is that if you can, help us understand a little bit about yourself, give a brief background, what you have done till now, just a quick introduction so that everyone knows who you are.
Yeah, okay. So I grew up in Ahmedabad and I was a commerce student. And after my plus two, I did my BCom along with CA. And so it was a simultaneous process. And immediately after completing CA, I joined the IMB. And as a fresher, I got placed into Sabre Partners. It's a private equity firm, straight of IMB. I've been working with them for 2.5 years.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I think this is pretty interesting, right? Because you have done BCom, then and along with BCom, you were doing your CA, and then you did MBA, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of students that we speak to today, they are kind of confused between should we do BCom, after BCom should we do CA or should we do MBA? So I mean, how did you, decide to pursue CA and BCom and not go for MBA directly? Because you have anyways done MBA now, right?
Yeah. No, so good question. See, BCom by itself does not take up a lot of your time, right? It's not. I didn't find it very exhausting a course. And fortunately, my university did not have such strict attendance rules, etc., which actually become a nightmare for other students when it comes to pursuing CA, A with respect to their coaching and B with respect to the articleship they need to pursue. So my college that way gave me a lot of flexibility. So because CA is a 4.5 years course and BCom is a 3 year course, it makes a lot of sense to do both of those things simultaneously. And if you
Hmm.
are doing CA studies side by side, you don't have to study a lot for BCom, right? So that way, academically, you're basically just pursuing CA. So that saves on a lot of your time. And regarding why I didn't do just a BCom and an MBA, I wanted to do a CA immediately after my class 12. That is because of the broad range of subjects you cover in a CA, in the CA course, right? Be it accounting, it's a lot of in-depth accounting. You understand holding companies, you understand financial statements, different accounting standards, be it taxation, law, a lot of merchant laws, commercial laws which are applicable. So that way it gives you a lot of knowledge, which, if you want to start off on your own as a CA or start off as your own business, it gives you a lot of background that way. And yeah, compared to BCom, it's a more challenging course. So that was the idea behind doing BCom and CA together and not just doing BCom and then looking at an MBA.
Okay. So, was MBA always on the cards, or was it like that you wanted to pursue CA after 12th, and then maybe MBA came along at some point?
Yeah, no, MBA wasn't always on the cards, but there are courses in CA which kind of there are parts of CA which you like and parts of CA that you don't like. I personally was never too interested in audit and assurance functions, your taxation functions per se. But financial management, cost accounting, those kind of things are actually very conceptual. And I wanted to get into a field where I'll be able to explore those things in a lot more detail. Now the issue is straight out of BCom and CA, the kind of opportunities that you get are very different from what you would get if you had an MBA.
Hmm.
So in my second or third year of CA, the idea was there that the moment I finish this, I wanted to do an MBA straight away, not even doing something post CA. The idea was to get into an MBA and start off my career after that instead of even waiting in between.
Okay. And just a little bit more about your CA. So, I mean, can you help us understand what exactly do you do on an articleship, and what is the experience like there?
Yeah.
And is it something very similar to what you will do on the job if you, like, let's say, start doing a job after CA?
Okay, so it's a very wide answer, right? Articleship can range from, I mean, students have experiences where they do audit for 3 years, right? Versus there are smaller firms which would give you exposure to lots of fields. So that again depends on what is the kind of firm that you join. If you join one of the big fours, there's a very high chance that you will be doing audit for 3 years. They help you specialize in that, but then you'll be limited to that function. I consciously chose a smaller firm and I got exposure to a diverse set of things. I was a part of project finance teams, right, wherein you help clients syndicate with banks to get project loans, project financing, term loans, those kind of things. So that was one. Second was I was a part of team that did forensic accounting on government functions, on government institutions. So that was again very interesting, very different from your company audits. And I also help companies with indirect taxation compliances, right? People keep getting into litigations. So I think the benefit I had, and I think this I would tell any person who's exploring articleship post CA, to try to look for smaller firms where the opportunity to look at a lot of functions over 3 years is better. 3 years is a long period of time to be doing only one single thing. And after 6 months, 7 months, the marginal utility or your learning curve, it simply plateaus, it flattens out. So it's important that you get exposure to a diverse range of functions. So that way, my articleship was very exhausting, but very, very, very fulfilling. In terms of what it would have been had I continued in the CA field, for sure, project financing, because I had done that, and because I think it's also more remunerative than your audit functions. It definitely helps, right? You start building networks. So if you are, say, in the project financing, you start building networks with different banks, different managers. You're very thorough with the kind of processes needed, documents needed, what are the usual expectations. Similarly, if you are in forensic accounting, you would understand what is the process of, as simple as tendering for an RFP that has come through from a municipal corporation, to what is the kind of team that you need to build to win a contract. So articleship in relevant fields, if you're very sure that you want to get into taxation, articleship in that field is a very big plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that helps. So now I think I'll jump to your MBA journey, right? So when it comes to MBA and you are coming with CA and a BCom already, so I think at least like what people feel is that finance is something that you would go for, right? But finance is also so broad. So how do
Yeah.
you decide that, or how did you decide that, this is something that you want to pursue? And also, if you can just help us understand what are the different options that are available when you say that, okay, after MBA, you can get into a finance industry. What all options are there? And how did you decide that, okay, PE is something that makes sense for me?
Okay. Okay. So I'll pick the first part of the question, which is how did I decide what I have to do after the MBA? So, like I said, during my articleship and CA studies itself, I decided like this is the kind of industry I would want to make a career out of. So when I joined IMB, the idea was very clear: wanted to do investment banking, right? And as just a CA, I don't think I would have gotten those front office roles. So the idea was to get an exposure to how a front office role in an investment bank is. When I landed an IB internship with Barclays during my summers, I realized that instead of being on the sell side, banking is usually on the sell side. I wanted to be on the buy side. And in the finals, when private equity firms came, there were a couple more. I started applying to those. So it was, I think, when you enter an MBA college, and especially if you're a fresher like me, because you haven't worked before, it's very difficult to say what is it that you want to do. Would I have been open to financial markets, trading, equity research? I'm sure I would have, right? But IP was anyway at the top of my preference list, and luckily that happened. But it would have been quite nice if I got to explore, say, a research role or a corp-fin role. So in terms of what would a typical CA student look at when they enter an MBA college, presently for your top tier colleges, the CA intake is pretty low, which makes you a very coveted candidate across industry, right? Typically, be it consulting or be it financial services, at both places, you're liked for the simple reason that because you have studied a wide variety of subjects and seen real-time exposure in your articleship. Your mind is actually attuned to pick things up very fast. You can hit the ground running, right? Which is why consulting can be a very good career. Especially for CA folks, you would see a lot of CA plus MBA people in your financial services arms of consulting companies, right? That is one big plus. Second is any other financial role that comes in. If it is not quant heavy, because usually CAs do not do the kind of quant which a CS grad from your IITs or NITs would be doing. So those roles apart, I think most other roles which come for financial services, right? Be it as simple as a financial controller role in a startup to being in a private equity or an industrial, I don't know, an industrial manager for a large FMCG company. All of those roles are very well suited for your background. And if you're a fresher, I think you can start off anywhere. So I don't think there's a dearth of the kind of opportunities you get once you enter an MBA college. Yeah.
Sure. And if you can also talk a little bit about the job that you have right now, right? You're working in a PE industry. So what exactly do you do, let's say, on day-to-day basis? And also, do you feel that coming from a CA background, it helps you to do the kind of things that you have to do in a PE role? Or, I mean, because you see a lot of people who are, let's say, engineers or from other backgrounds also being in a similar role. So do you feel that CA gives you like an edge?
Okay. So first part about what I do on, say, a day-to-day basis at Sabre. So I am an investment manager at Sabre. I'm the youngest in my team. So if you work in a private equity or a VC firm, the teams are really small. You will hardly ever see a team which is more than 8 or 10 people in size, minus a 6-member team. So because of that, the exposure in these teams is very high. So on a day-to-day basis, I can bucket my work into three broad categories. One is evaluation of opportunities. Basically, a private equity fund has a mandate to invest in certain sectors with certain investment themes. So we keep getting approached by banks, by founders directly, or by other funds who have invested in companies for evaluating opportunities. We are a financial services and healthcare focused fund. So day in, day out, we look at companies of across life cycles. You see early stage companies, you see last stage companies. So the way the investment evaluation works is you meet a lot of promoters, you speak to them, try to understand what is the company is trying to propose, what is the unique value proposition. You speak to industry experts to get a better view of how the industry is moving. And if you're significantly interested in a deal, you take it forward. There's a due diligence involved. And if it moves further, then you have to work with legal counsels. There's a lot of documentation. So basically, looking at pure play investments, right? That is a very big part of any investment manager's role. But that is only the first part. Once you invest in a company, you also have to manage it. So that is the second bucket. That is portfolio management. Right? Usually, private equity firms have a horizon of 5 to 7 years in a company. Once you have invested, you need to manage the investment. There are board meetings, there are monthly performance reviews, there are ESOPs, there are sales strategies. A lot of work which as a private equity firm and as someone whose first job is this, you get the front row seats to board meetings, understanding how the board is strategizing. There are committees that you need to be a part of. So a lot of work goes into day-to-day management of these entities. And the third part is fund management. Now, when I joined Sabre was launching a new fund. So like we fund companies, we also have to ask investors to give a certain pool of money. And from that, we invest in companies. So we were launching our 4th fund. So that also has a lot of presentation, discussions with potential investors, handling the due diligence on their side, information requests. So that is the kind of day-to-day role which you would have to do in a PE or a VC firm. In a VC, yeah. What was the second part of the question?
Yeah, the second part was basically that do you feel that having a CA gives you an edge when you are in this kind of a role compared to, let's say,
Okay.
people who are not coming from this background of being a CA?
Definitely, definitely. See, especially for freshers, it's easier if you have a CA degree, um, and you join a private equity firm immediately post your graduation or post grad. I'll tell you why. Because okay, let me just cover the subjects which a CA degree uh, entails. Right, one is financial management, which tells you a lot about valuation and modeling. So all of that, okay, an MBA degree can also teach you. But then there are finer aspects, right? When you are, say, in the middle of a transaction, there are lots of Companies Act compliances which you have to do, and you study Companies Act in depth when you're in CA. So that really helps. Then there is income tax. Again, you've done a lot of that transfer pricing. How does an alternative investment fund, an AIF, which is what you would call a PE or a VC, how is their taxation structured? All of that is also something you cover in depth. Then when it comes to portfolio management, right, there's management accounting. While MBA colleges do cover that slightly, you do that a lot more in depth when you are in CA. So all the subjects actually give you a very good view of how your business will be structured, which is why you will see a lot of CA people in large private equity companies. The exposure during the studies as well as your articleship culminates into a lot of help when you are in the PE industry.
Sure. So thank you so much, Karishma. I think this was really helpful. This brings me to the last question that I have, which is that what would be your suggestion for people who are currently exploring different career options possible and maybe are also looking at a similar career path as yours? So what would be some of the suggestions? It could be like pros and cons or whatever, like whatever comes to your mind, which would be like important for people who are making these decisions right now.
Understood. Understood. Okay. So, in terms of what are the pros and cons, I think I spoke about working in a smaller firm versus a larger firm because of the diverse experience. A very big drawback of that is these are not branded names, right? Having a Deloitte or a KPMG or an EY when you're doing your articleship definitely adds a lot more value, and I think it adds some kind of a brand value to your CV, right? So that, I think, that is a call anyone anytime has to take. What kind of college you want to go to in your BCom, right? A lot of people go to say an SRCC, LSR, which are really good brands, but I think with those colleges it's not possible to pursue CA simultaneously. So that is a call you have to take, right? I took a call of joining a simple college, while HLIC is a very good college in Ahmedabad, but also it gave me a lot of flexibility. So in terms of your time horizons, you have to be very clear. That is the first bit about the university. Second is about the articleship. Again, it's about brand versus getting to do a lot of work. Mine was a conscious call, but it actually could have played out anyway. Had I not gotten into an MBA college, and after that, if I had looked at placements into getting into, say, a KPMG or a Deloitte, I'm not sure how much of a non-branded articleship experience would have helped me. It would have definitely been a con, right? Not having that, but luckily it worked out for me. But again, that is a very conscious call you need to take. Finally, whether to do an MBA immediately after your CA, or working for some time somewhere and then coming back and doing an MBA. I wanted to start off right away, but I've seen a lot of my colleagues at IMB, were everyone else actually had done 1 or 2 years of work before joining an MBA. I think it gives you a lot more perspective about whatever you're learning at an MBA college, because you've seen how a workplace functions. So from the sense of learning and the knowledge and the application, I think MBA makes a lot more sense if you've worked for some time. That is the first part. Second is in terms of career opportunities. I don't think it makes a lot of difference. At least if you're decided that you're going to do a CA and MBA, I don't think the career opportunities are significantly different. You will, as a rule, get a chance at Copfin, at IB, at PE, at consulting. All of those roles will be open to you. So that way, it won't make a lot of difference. But in terms of learning, in terms of also getting a mild career break, if you have been trudging for 2 to 3 years, I think MBA makes for a good break. But yeah, I think these are three very conscious choices someone needs to make before they start up their career.
Sure. Cool. So thank you so much, Karishma, for being with us today. And I think this will be really helpful for people who are looking into these kind of career options right now. Thank you so
No
much.
worries, Sonali. Thank you. Thank you.